Most people think Christmas in the Netherlands looks just like everywhere else. A tree, some lights, a big dinner, and a quiet holiday at home. But the moment you actually spend Christmas there, you realize something feels off. Families are cooking at the table instead of in the kitchen. Christmas somehow lasts 3 days. And there are traditions that feel so normal to the Dutch, yet completely confuse outsiders. What makes this even stranger is that none of these customs are written rules. Nobody explains them to you. You're just expected to know when to show up, what to eat, and how long you're supposed to stay. And if you get it wrong, people won't correct you. They'll just quietly judge you while passing the whipped cream. Today, we're breaking down 21 Christmas traditions that feel totally normal in the Netherlands, but almost nowhere else in the world. Some are cozy, some are surprising, and a few make you wonder how they ever became a thing in the first place. And the first one starts the moment everyone sits down at the table. Because in the Netherlands, Christmas dinner doesn't work the way you think it does. The first thing that shocks most visitors is that Christmas dinner in the Netherlands doesn't come out of the kitchen. It happens right in front of you. Instead of one big meal being served all at once, Dutch families sit around the table with a hot grill in the middle. Everyone gets tiny pans or a flat grilling surface, and you cook your own meat, fish, and vegetables, piece by piece. This tradition is called Gourmetten, and for many families, it's not just a Christmas option, it's the default. What makes Gourmetten so different isn't the food itself, it's the time. Because nothing is pre-cooked, dinner stretches on for hours. People talk, laugh, argue over whose pan is hotter, and slowly eat far more than they planned. There's no rush, no single main moment. The entire evening is the meal, and once you've finished cooking, you're not done yet. Because in many Dutch homes, the next tradition starts the moment Christmas morning arrives. And it begins with something far heavier than you'd expect for breakfast. When Christmas morning finally arrives, the table looks nothing like a light festive breakfast. Instead, there's one item that quietly dominates almost every Dutch home. Front and center sits a thick, oval-shaped loaf, dusted in powdered sugar. It's called Kerststol, and despite how rich and heavy it is, this isn't dessert. It's breakfast. The bread is packed with raisins, currants, and a dense core of sweet almond paste, and it's sliced generously before most people have fully woken up. What surprises outsiders isn't just the weight of it, but how normal it feels to the Dutch. No one questions starting the day with something this filling. In fact, Kerststol is treated almost like a requirement. If it's not on the table, something feels missing, even if the rest of the breakfast is perfect. And there's an unspoken rule everyone seems to know. The thicker the layer of butter on each slice, the better. Powdered sugar falls everywhere, plates get messy, and somehow this quiet, slow breakfast sets the tone for the rest of Christmas Day. But once the food settles, attention slowly shifts away from the table. Because in the Netherlands, Christmas isn't just about staying indoors. As the morning fades into afternoon, something subtle starts happening in Dutch living rooms. Eyes drift toward the corner of the room, not because of the lights, but because of what's hanging in the tree. Look closely and you'll spot flat, ring-shaped cookies dangling from the branches. These are Kerstkransjes, and yes, they're meant to be eaten. They're hung with thin strings like ornaments, quietly tempting anyone who walks by. Kids notice them immediately. Adults pretend not to. What makes this tradition so unusual is how casual it feels. There's no ceremony when one disappears. No announcement. Someone just walks past, removes a cookie, and keeps going. Over the course of the day, the tree slowly empties, and nobody ever admits who took the last one. For many families, Kerstkransjes blur the line between decoration and food. The tree isn't just something you look at, it's something you snack from. And once those cookies are gone, attention shifts back to the table because another Christmas meal is already being planned. And this time, the question isn't what you'll eat, but which side you're on. By the time the next meal comes around, a quiet debate starts forming in Dutch households. It's never announced out loud, but everyone knows it's there. Some families insist that Christmas should mean a large, impressive centerpiece. A golden kalkoen, stuffed and roasted, brought to the table all at once. Others roll their eyes at the effort and go for something far more familiar. A rollade, slowly roasted, sliced thick, and served without the drama. What's interesting is that turkey isn't actually the default in the Netherlands. For many families, it still feels slightly foreign, almost borrowed from other countries. Rollade, on the other hand, feels safe, traditional, predictable in the best way. And then there are the families who avoid the debate altogether. They skip both options and simply bring out the table grill again, turning Christmas into another long round of gourmetten. No matter what's served, one thing stays the same. Nobody expects to eat quickly. Because in the Netherlands, Christmas dinner isn't just a meal. It's an event that slowly takes over the entire evening. And once everyone leans back from the table, full and half asleep, another unspoken tradition quietly takes over. After hours of eating, talking, and pretending you couldn't possibly have another bite, nobody actually leaves the table right away. Plates stay where they are, glasses get refilled, and the conversation drifts into something slower. This is where the Dutch Christmas dinner truly shows its character. It isn't rushed, and it isn't structured. Courses blend into each other. Dessert doesn't feel like a finale. It feels like an excuse to keep sitting together. Time stretches, and before anyone notices, the evening is gone. What surprises many outsiders is how normal this feels. There's no pressure to entertain, no schedule to follow. The goal isn't the food itself, it's the shared time. That's why Christmas dinners in the Netherlands often last 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours without anyone questioning it. And eventually, when people finally stand up, it's rarely to end the night. It's just to move somewhere warmer. Because once the plates are cleared, the drinks come out. And that's when the atmosphere shifts again. At that point in the evening, someone usually disappears into the kitchen and comes back carrying mugs instead of plates. And suddenly, the mood changes. Dutch Christmas isn't complete without warm chocolate milk, piled high with whipped cream. Not a thin drink, but something thick, rich, and closer to dessert than a beverage. The whipped cream isn't optional either. It's stacked so high, it barely fits under the spoon, slowly melting as people talk. What makes this tradition stand out is when it's served, not just after dinner, but during long conversations, late in the evening, or even after coming back inside from the cold. It's less about thirst and more about comfort. And in many homes, hot chocolate isn't the only thing being poured. As the night grows quieter and the lights feel warmer, another drink starts appearing on the table. One that signals Christmas has truly settled in. That's when the mugs are swapped for glasses, and the smell of spices fills the room. Glühwein shows up everywhere in the Netherlands during Christmas. Not just at markets, but in living rooms, kitchens, and back gardens. It's warm, sweet, slightly bitter, and usually stronger than people expect. One glass turns into 2 before anyone notices. What makes Glühwein part of the Dutch Christmas routine is how it marks the season. The moment it's poured, the evening slows down. Conversations soften. People linger longer. It doesn't feel like a party drink. It feels like a signal that there's nowhere else you need to be. And while wine might be warming hands, there's something else warming Dutch pride during the holidays. Because as Christmas approaches, breweries across the country release something special, and many families make room for it every single year. Those special releases aren't just any beer. Christmas beers in the Netherlands are a ritual in themselves. Dark, heavy, and often spiced, these seasonal brews are carefully crafted to match the long, cold nights of December. They're stronger, richer, and more complex than what's available the rest of the year, and trying one has almost become a tradition. What's unique is how seriously people take them. Collectors hunt for rare bottles. Families line up at local breweries. Even casual drinkers develop favorites they look forward to each holiday season. Opening one feels like opening the official start of Christmas. And just as the alcohol warms the body, the country itself seems to slow down. Because in the Netherlands, Christmas isn't a single day. It stretches across 2, sometimes 3. And every moment is carefully marked with a ritual, starting with the first holiday morning and extending into the streets, parks, and even national broadcasts. Next, we'll explore a tradition that surprises almost every tourist: the official second day of Christmas. Most countries treat December 26th as just another day, or a quiet recovery from Christmas. Not in the Netherlands. Tweede Kerstdag, or Second Christmas Day, is a full-fledged holiday, and it's treated almost as seriously as the 25th. Families use it for everything they didn't manage the day before. Another big meal, another long walk, maybe even a repeat of Gourmetten. Some people visit friends or extended family, while others take the day entirely for themselves. The key is that the day is slow, deliberate, and fully embraced. For tourists, it's baffling. Streets are quieter than expected. Shops may be closed, and yet everyone seems happy, energized, and somehow still in the Christmas spirit. The Dutch have mastered spreading the holiday over time instead of cramming it into one day. And while families are deciding how to spend Tweede Kerstdag, many are also heading outside, because a Dutch Christmas isn't complete without some fresh air and winter activity. One of the most surprisingly popular ways to spend Tweede Kerstdag is with a long Christmas walk. Families, friends, and even solo walkers head into parks, forests, or along canals, bundling up against the cold. These walks aren't rushed. They're meant to be slow, contemplative, and shared. What makes them uniquely Dutch is how organized they can be. Some towns host official routes, like the famous Bos Loop, with hundreds of participants making their way through decorated paths. Others simply wander through snowy neighborhoods, enjoying lights, quiet streets, and the crisp winter air. It's not just about exercise. The walk is almost a ritual, time to digest, reflect, and reconnect with family without phones or screens. And if the weather cooperates, the scenery can turn magical. Frozen canals, snow-dusted trees, and streets lined with sparkling lights. And for those lucky enough to find the ice just right, another winter tradition often sneaks into the day: schaatsen, or ice skating on natural ice. When the temperatures drop low enough, canals, lakes, and ponds transform into impromptu ice rinks. Schaatsen isn't just a fun activity. It's almost a national pastime during Christmas, if nature allows it. Families strap on skates, glide across frozen surfaces, and share a uniquely Dutch way of celebrating winter. What makes it special is how spontaneous it can be. Unlike indoor rinks with set hours, natural ice appears unpredictably. When it's thick enough, everyone knows. This is the day for skating. Even visitors are drawn in, quickly realizing that gliding across a frozen canal is as much part of the holiday as the meals, drinks, and decorations. And when the ice gets crowded or the sun sets, people often drift back into towns for something warmer. That's where the next unmistakably Dutch Christmas tradition takes over: visiting Christmas markets. Dutch Christmas markets aren't as massive as the ones in Germany, but they have their own charm. Small towns and cities set up cozy stalls with decorations, handmade gifts, snacks, and warm drinks. Walking through them feels less like shopping and more like stepping into a festive winter world. What sets them apart is the atmosphere. Streets are often lined with lights, and music drifts through the air, but there's no overwhelming crowds or pressure to buy. Locals casually sip Glühwein, sample treats, and admire ornaments, while kids marvel at simple rides or holiday displays. For many, visiting a market isn't just an outing, it's a chance to slow down, enjoy the season, and make memories that feel unmistakably Dutch. And while streets and markets glow with lights, another uniquely Dutch tradition quietly defines the visual side of Christmas: the timing and decoration of the Christmas tree. In the Netherlands, Christmas trees aren't usually set up until after December 5th, which might surprise anyone used to seeing trees at the start of December. This timing is practical. Sinterklaas dominates the early holiday season, so the Christmas tree waits patiently in the corner until it can truly shine. When it finally goes up, it's treated like a mini event. Families decorate together, hanging ornaments, lights, and sometimes even those edible Kerstmas Kransjes from the branches. The tree quickly becomes the centerpiece of the home, a visual signal that the Christmas season has officially begun. And the Dutch don't stop at their own homes. Streets, neighborhoods, and entire towns often follow suit with light routes and festive decorations, creating a sparkling winter landscape that's both communal and enchanting. Once the lights are up, the festive mood reaches a peak. But Dutch Christmas still has a few more surprises waiting to be discovered. One of the quieter but deeply ingrained traditions is the sending of physical Christmas cards. Even in an age dominated by instant messages and emails, the Dutch still take time to pick, write, and mail cards to friends, family, and colleagues. What makes this tradition stand out is the scale and consistency. Streets are lined with post boxes full of cards, and families often make a ritual out of addressing them together. It's not just about wishing someone a Merry Christmas. It's about the personal touch, the connection, and the anticipation of receiving cards in return. And while cards are making their way through the post, some families take a different path to celebrate, attending a midnight mass on Christmas Eve, blending holiday cheer with spiritual reflection. Next, we'll explore one of the most entertaining Dutch Christmas outings that surprises almost every visitor: the Christmas circus. During the holiday season, many Dutch families make a trip to the Christmas circus, a tradition that feels like stepping into a world where nostalgia meets spectacle. Big cities host these circuses with acrobats, clowns, animal acts, and elaborate performances, often running throughout the entire Christmas vacation. What makes it uniquely Dutch is how deeply embedded it is in the culture. Even families who don't usually attend circuses treat this as a holiday must-do. Kids' eyes widen at the performances. Adults get drawn into the humor and skill, and the whole experience becomes part of the seasonal rhythm. It's a reminder that Christmas in the Netherlands isn't just about meals, lights, or gifts. It's also about shared experiences that create lasting memories. And speaking of seasonal rhythms, the Dutch have a surprising way of blending Christmas with the upcoming New Year, starting Oliebollen season before the year ends. Long before December 31st, the smell of frying dough begins to fill Dutch streets. Oliebollen, deep-fried dough balls, often studded with raisins or apples, are everywhere, even before New Year's Eve. What makes this tradition interesting is how it overlaps with Christmas. Vendors start selling them weeks in advance, meaning families can enjoy these indulgent treats throughout the holiday season. It's almost impossible to resist. The warm, sweet smell drifting from street stalls calls people out of their homes, creating an informal, festive ritual. For many Dutch households, oliebollen aren't just a New Year's snack. They're part of the Christmas experience, bridging the gap between holidays and keeping the festive spirit alive well into the winter. And with that, we've reached the final piece of the puzzle: how Christmas in the Netherlands stretches across multiple days, making it an experience rather than a single event. What really sets Dutch Christmas apart is how it stretches over 3 full days. It's not just about December 24th or 25th. It's a season that unfolds slowly, giving families time to eat, walk, visit, and simply be together. If you love discovering these unique Dutch Christmas traditions, there's so much more to explore about the Netherlands on dear old Holland. From quirky holidays to hidden cultural gems, we dive into it all. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a story about the Netherlands you won't find anywhere else.